जय शोधो हे अमाया तुम्हारा चरण धूरी तुम्हारा चरण छाय बेगा दोमी छाय दोषा शोधी छाया गुण देहो दासे छाया मी छाया दोषा शोधी छाया गुण देहो दासे छाय सत्संगा देहो हमारे तुम बोशेची संगेरा आशे संगा देहो हमारे बोशेची संगेरा आशे एकाकी अमार नहीं पाए बल हरि नाम संकीर्तने एकाकी अमार नहीं पाए बल हरि नाम संकीर्तने तुमी कृपा कोरी श्रद्धा बिंदु दिया देहो कृष्ण नाम धने तुमी कृपा कोरी श्रद्धा बिंदु दिया देहो कृष्ण नाम धने कृष्ण से तुम्हार कृष्ण देते पारो तुम्हारा शक्ति आछे कृष्ण से तुम्हार कृष्ण देते पारो तुम्हारा शक्ति आछे आमी तो कंगाल कृष्ण कृष्ण बोली धाई तब पाछे पाछे आमी तो कंगाल कृष्ण कृष्ण बोली दाई तब पाछे पाछे वैष्णव ठाकुर दयार सागर ए दस करुणा कोरी वैष्णव ठाकुर दयार सागर ए दस करुणा कोरी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय कृष्ण बलराम जय वृंदावन धाम जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय गौर निताय जय गौर निताय जय जगत Guru Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Gaur Premanandi. Go word by word. Vaishnav Thakur, Dayara Sagar. Oh Vaishnav Thakur, you are the ocean of mercy and Edase Kuruna Kuri. Please be merciful on this menial servant. Diya Pad Chaya Shodhoe Amaya. Give the lotus shade of your lotus feet and purify me. Tomara Charan Dhuri, because your dust of your lotus feet is very, very purifying. Chaya Bega Domi. Please destroy or how let me make me learn how to destroy these 6 urges. Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodh Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udaropastha Vegam, Etan Vegan, Vishya Sarvamami, Pratimsa Shishyad. Nectam section of Deshamatra Goswami mentioned that these 6 pushes has to be controlled. Chhay dosha shodhi, purify me from these 6 faults or urges. Atyahar prayasa prajalpaniyam agra jansangasya lolyam cha shadbhir bhakti pranashyati. These 6 things, atyahar prayasa prajalpaniyam agra. Chhay guna dehudase, give me 6 good qualities. And what are those 6 good qualities? That utsaha nishchay dhairya tat tat karma pravartanat sangatyaga satovrati shadbhir bhakti prasidhati. These 6 things will increase our bhakti. So this bhajan is very powerful in that sense. Chhay satsanga deva hamare. 6 kind of associations, dadati pratigadati, or like that. And Bosheji Sangera se. Then I am sitting under the India Association of Devotees. Ekaki amara, I am alone. Nahi paya bala, I have no strength, no spiritual strength, no material strength. Hari Nam Sankirtan hai. Only the power of Hari Nam Sankirtan I am relying on. Tumi kripa kori. You please be merciful. Shraddha bindu diya. By your mercy I got this faith in devotional life, chanting of the holy names. Deho Krishna Nam Dhane. But now please give me Nam Dhane. Because this Nam Dhan, chanting of the holy names, this is a treasure. And this Nam Dhan is very significant and important. And I want you to give me that. And Krishna se tomar. You are very much Krishna dite par. You are connected with Krishna and you can give Krishna. Tomara shakati aje, by your power. Amito Kangal, I have nothing, no possession, no material, no spiritual. Krishna, Krishna boli, but I am speaking Krishna and Krishna. Dhai tava pache pache. And I am running after you. That's my only qualification. Tava pache pache. I am running after you. So that's the point that. So now today we are going to be reading Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasa Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevayam Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nastaki. So we are reading Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, chapter 23, the price affair. Swamiji's disciples in New York were surprised to find that they could still carry on in his absence. At first, rising early, going to the storefront, and holding the morning kirtana and class had been difficult. Without Swamiji, everything had seemed empty. But he had taught them what to do, and gradually they realized that they should simply follow what he had shown them, or even imitate as a child imitates his parents. So here Prabhupada, he left to expand the mission of Krishna consciousness to San Francisco, and he went there with a couple of disciples, and he started program over there. But at New York, in 22nd Avenue, there was all the devotees who were there, they were perplexed, they didn't know what to do, so they were really confused, but Srila Prabhupada guided them right from San Francisco, and it worked. At first they had been too shy to speak or lead the kirtana, so they had played tapes of Swamiji's kirtans and classes. But when the evenings came and guests attended the temple, the devotees felt compelled to give live classes. Rama, Brahmananda, Saswarupa and Rupanuga took turns giving brief talks and even answering challenging questions from the same lower east side audiences that Srila Prabhupada had lion tamed for 6 months. Things were shaky and lacking without him, and yet in a sense he was still present, and the devotees found that everything, the chanting, the cooking, the taking of prasadam, the preaching could still go on. So that is the point. That is the power of Krishna consciousness, that our legacy is that we want to carry on Prabhupada's legacy, Prabhupada's ISKCON. It's not that when Prabhupada was gone, ISKCON got finished. Even ISKCON flourished more because Prabhupada spent only 12 years, such a short time. What he did in 12 years was phenomenal and amazing. But here, disciples during last 50 years, they did tremendous hard work and expanded Krishna Conscious ISKCON program, more than 750 temples, centers and farm communities. So this is how devotees took. So here in New York, when they were left alone, they said what to do. They thought, they stopped, they played Prabhupada's recorded kirtans and lectures, but it became a little more impersonal. So then they decided to give the discourses by themselves, which was nice. So on January 19, just 3 days after his arrival in San Francisco, Prabhupada had written back to his New York disciples. They were his spiritual children and were very dear to him. Although far from his homeland, India, he hadn't thought of writing to anyone there. Since he was a sannyasi, he had no interest in writing to any family members or relatives. And so as for writing to his god brothers, there was not much importance in that, since they had repeatedly shown their reluctance to help. But being a new city among new faces and having met with an initial fanfare of success, Prabhupada had wanted to share the news with those most eager to hear from him. He had also wanted to reassure his disciples, whom, after only a few months of training, he was expecting to conduct Krishna consciousness movement in New York. So Prabhupada, he was there. He established preaching center, Matchless Gift in New York. Then he went to San Francisco. There he started, and this was some sort of success. And this success he wanted to share with his god brothers, other people, but most of them, they were not very much cooperative and very much supportive. So Prabhupada, he shared all his success with some of his good devotee friends. And with the devotees who were left back in New York, he was concerned that how they will be conducting this movement, how they will be running the affairs of the temple. So he started writing letters. See, after reaching 3 days, after he started writing. So that's why Prabhupada's energy is phenomenal. So my dear Brahmananda, Hayagriva, Kirtananda, Saswarupa, Gargamuni, Achyutananda, Jadurani, please accept my greetings and blessings of Guru Gauranga, Giridhari Gandharvika. You have already got the news of our safe arrival and good reception by devotees here. Mr. Allen Ginsberg and about 50 or 60 others received us on the airport, and when I arrived in my apartment, there were some press reporters also who took note of my mission. 2-3 papers like the Examiner, newspapers, and the Chronicles, etc., have already published the report. One of the reports is sent here with please find. I wish that 1000 copies of this report may be offset printed at once, and 100 copies of the same may be sent here as soon as possible. I understand that you are feeling my absence. Krishna will give you strength. Physical presence is immaterial. Presence of the transcendental sound received from the spiritual master should be the guidance of life. That will make our spiritual life successful. If you feel very strongly about my absence, you may place my pictures on my sitting places, and this will be source of inspiration for you. I am very much anxious to hear about the final decision of the house. I wish to. So here, before I move on to the purchase of the house deal, because that was the title of the chapter. So here, Prabhupada was very pleased that the press reporters came to cover the purpose of ISKCON, the movement, what the activities. So he wanted, because that's how the whole Krishna consciousness movement is spread out. Because for people in America, that was a very new thing. They have no clue why this Swamiji came here, what was his purpose, what was his plans. So these devotees, Prabhupada is just guiding them by writing them again and again. So he is writing the letters, and then at the same time, he is trying to buy a house to run the program over in New York. So here Prabhupada is saying that I am very anxious to hear about the final decision of the house. I wish to open the house by the 1st of March 1967. An arrangement may be done dexterously in this connection. I have not as yet received the tapes for dictaphone, and I have sent you tapes yesterday. Please offer my blessings to Shriman Neil. So Prabhupada is looking for buying a house, and devotees were advised accordingly. On the other hand, Prabhupada dictaphone tapes, he went out of those and he wanted to get them more. Shriman Raya Rama is cooking well and distributing prasadam to the devotees, numbering sometimes 70. It is very encouraging. I think this center will be very nice branch without delay. Everything is prospective. Hope you are well and awaiting your early reply. So prasadam distribution significance is mentioned over here. The letter had helped, especially the second paragraph. Brahmananda had posted it in the storefront. Now Swamiji had clearly enunciated that they were still with him, and he was still in New York with them. It was something special. Service to the spiritual master in separation, and even the devotees in San Francisco who were with Swamiji every day could not yet know its special taste. While the devotees in New York performed their duties, daily duties, they often quoted from the letter and thought about it. Krishna will give you strength. Physical presence is immaterial. Presence of the transcendental sound received from the spiritual master should be the guidance of life. That will make our spiritual life successful. Here's a key lesson that whatever Vapu and Vani, two kinds of association. Vapu is like physical presence of Guru, and Vani is like his words. So Vani has more significance, one is more prominent, important. That's what Prabhupada is guiding them. advising them and helping them out with the situation when Prabhupada wasn't there. Although Prabhupada had written that they could place his photograph on his seat, no one had a photograph. They had asked the devotees in San Francisco for one. A boy took some poor color snapshots and sent them to New York, and devotees placed one at Prabhupada's sitting place in his apartment. It helped. For Prabhupada also, the letter to his disciples in New York marked a milestone. This was the basis on which he hoped to conduct a worldwide movement. He could travel from place to place and yet be simultaneously present in many places by his instructions. Prabhupada letters, they are all documented. They are all in the Veda database. The books have been made out of those. And still many people, they take guidance from those letters. And that's how Prabhupada wanted to conduct this Krishna conscious movement worldwide, because he cannot be present at all the places. So he had to start from New York, then he moved on. Brahmananda, as the president of the New York temple, frequently phoned San Francisco. The chanting is the focal point, he told Hayagriva. We can always sit and chant. We are beginning to understand what Swamiji meant when he said that worship in separation is more relishable. So that's what the point is. The San Francisco devotees, they do not know yet how the absence of Prabhupada will be relishable, because he just came there. But now, the devotees of New York, they are a step forward. They are more advanced now, because now they are able to serve the mission of Guru Maharaj in his absence, which is very powerful, which is more relishable. Love in separation, service in separation, worship in separation is more powerful than in association. Vapu. And Srila Prabhupada wrote to his New York disciples regularly, at least once a week. Brahmananda got most of the business instructions, arranged to purchase a new building in New York, see Mr. Kalman, and get copies of the Kirtana record, get a copy of movie a filmmaker had made of the devotees, investigate the possibility of publishing Bhagavad Gita. If I am assisted by one expert typewriter, Prabhupada wrote Brahmananda, we can publish every 3 months a book, and the more we have books, the more we become respectable. So that's Prabhupada's mission, ISKCON's mission, that our books are our basis, and whatever we are preaching, whatever we are saying, whatever we are doing, published, documented. And when Prabhupada left the planet, all those books became the landmark, the guiding torch for all the devotees all the time to come. Prabhupada mentioned everything in his books. That's why whenever we diverted from his books or tried to misinterpret the books, that's where the fall down began. Satswarupa got a letter from Prabhupada asking him to type the dictated tapes of the new book, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Although Prabhupada's typist Neil had gone to San Francisco, after a day he had disappeared. So Prabhupada had to deal with these situations that these devotees were, because they were very new, were like this. I think you have 5 tapes with you, because I have got only 3 with me. Prabhupada wrote, see that the tape do not miss. Satswarupa had written inquiry how he would be able to understand transcendental knowledge. You are a sincere devotee of the Lord, Prabhupada replied, and certainly he will bless you with auspicious advancement in the matter of spiritual understanding. So here, humble inquiries, these devotees, early devotees, Satswarupa Maharaj, he asked Prabhupada how I can understand this transcendental knowledge. Prabhupada replied, Krishna will help you, because you are a sincere person. Ramarayan got a letter encouraging him to continue publishing the magazine. Back to Godhead will always remain the backbone of the society. Your ambition should always be how to improve the quality. So Back to Godhead magazine, from the very beginning, Prabhupada have been emphasizing, because people will have a tendency to read magazines, and Prabhupada said Back to Godhead should be our magazine. Instead of reading material magazines, filmy magazines, better we read Back to Godhead magazine. So that's why Raya Ram has been assigned this seva. Achyutananda, One of the youngest devotees, only 18, was now working alone in the kitchen. In a letter, Srila Prabhupada wrote to 5 devotees, singing his name 5 times. He told Achyutananda, since Kirtananda is absent, certainly you are feeling some strain, but the more you serve Krishna, the more you become stronger. I hope you are being properly assisted by your God brothers. So, seva should not stop. In any situation, in any condition, many times people, they leave, they move on, they do other seva, other people take on. So the seva should not stop. That's the main point. These programs, these sevas, they can never stop. That's what Prabhupada's mission was. Prabhupada advised Garga Muni, also 18. So remember, all these new early devotees of Srila Prabhupada, disciples of Srila Prabhupada, associates of Srila Prabhupada, they were all around 18 to 20. I think Satswarup was the senior among them. He was a little older than all of them. Also, to cooperate with his older God brothers. Older means if you are in ISKCON with Prabhupada, for a month you are older disciple, senior disciple. Asking whether Garga Muni had gone to see his mother, Prabhupada said he hoped she was all right. Since Garga Muni was a temple treasurer, Srila Prabhupada advised him checks should be drawn with full deliberation. So Prabhupada's emphasis was no wastage of money at all, at any point, at any time. So that was Prabhupada's mission. He never wanted even a single penny to be spent uselessly. Prabhupada wrote Jadurani now. So all these devotees, how he's interacting with them, how he's replying them, how he's giving instruction to them, individually, collectively, that's very important. That's very significant. It's almost a rare thing that one person, 70-year-old Srila Prabhupada, at such an old age, he could remember all the instructions, all the things, all the names, all the sevas that they have been doing, their family problems, like the Garga Muni left for some time to visit his mother. So Rupanuga had, Prabhupada, yeah, that's happened. And now Prabhupada wrote to Jadurani, I always remember you as the nicest girl because you are so devoutly engaged in the service of Krishna. Can you imagine? Prabhupada, a sannyasi, is writing letter to Mataji because for the preaching purpose that was important. And Prabhupada is always encouraging and accepting whatever seva they did. Instead of finding fault, instead of miscorrecting them, Prabhupada always very nicely, lovingly, carefully advised them how to become better, do better seva. So she had informed him that that she had been cheated by a boyfriend. And Srila Prabhupada replied, better you accept Krishna as your husband and he will never be unfaithful. Devote yourself therefore 24 hours in the service of Krishna and see how you feel happy in all respect. So that's the main point. That we are cheated in this world in our relationships. No relationship in this material world is pure. So that's why Prabhupada is guiding here. You make a relationship with Krishna. Rupanuga had written Prabhupada that the temperature in New York had dropped below zero and that there had been a two-day blizzard. Srila Prabhupada wrote. Certainly this situation would have been a little troublesome for me because I am an old man. I think Krishna wanted to protect me by shifting me here at San Francisco. Here, the climate is certainly like India and I am feeling comfortable, but uncomfortable also because at New York. I felt at home on account of so many beloved students like you. As you are feeling my absence, so I am feeling for you. But we are all happy on account of Krishna consciousness, either here or there. May Krishna join us always in his transcendental service. So Prabhupada is saying, I am always with you as long as you are serving the mission of his Guru Maharaj. The neophyte disciples in New York felt assurance from their spiritual masters' words and by their own experience. Service in separation was a transcendental fact. They were improving in chanting on their beads and the New York center was going on. So long our kirtana is all right. Prabhupada wrote, there is no difficulty at all. What is the difficulty? That was Prabhupada's main point. That keep chanting, keep kirtana going, prasadam distribution, things will go on. But there was one difficulty, attempts to purchase a new building which had gone on smoothly while Prabhupada had been present, had become a great problem as soon as he had left. Shortly after Srila Prabhupada's departure for San Francisco, Brahmananda had given Mr. Price $1,000. And Mr. Price had promised to help the devotees get their building. When Prabhupada heard this, he became perturbed. Because Prabhupada met Mr. Price, at some point, and he saw that he was not properly situated, so he was skeptical. But because of the devotees had to do something about it, so communication gap was there, because Prabhupada, when he was in San Francisco, letters were coming back and going back, and sometimes you have to take a decision. So here 1,000 advance was given to Mr. Price. In the opinion of the devotees and the trustees here, $1,000 has been risked without any understanding. No paperwork yet. I know that you are doing your best, but still there has been an error of judgment. I am not at all displeased with you, but they say that Mr. Price will never be able to secure financial help from any other source. He is simply taking time under different pretext, changing constantly. Therefore, you should not pay even a farthing more than what you have paid. If he wants any more money, you should flatly refuse. So that's the situation. Mr. Price promised them that he will find out some good financial resource for them to get the building funding, but he was just passing time. Srila Prabhupada remembered Mr. Price, so now Prabhupada is quoting his meeting, and their first meeting, at which the blonde-haired, elegantly dressed businessman, his face tanned even in winter, and addressed him as Your Excellency. That address alone had made Prabhupada distrust him. Your Excellency, Your Excellency. There was a Bengali saying, too much devotion denotes a thief. Prabhupada knew that businessmen were prone to cheat, and that an American businessman would be particularly difficult to deal with. Prabhupada's American disciples were innocent children in worldly affairs. He was ready to instruct them step by step, but now, without consulting him, they had become involved in an unbusinesslike transaction, risking $1,000 of the society's money without any written agreement. So that's the Prabhupada's point, that written agreements must be there. Also the main point here is that if too much devotion denotes a thief. If somebody is just showing so much affection or love suddenly for you without any previous background or any previous understanding, so there must be some motive behind. That's what Prabhupada guessed. This is called wisdom comes from age also. And Prabhupada was, of course, beyond time and age. Without written agreement, no money should be given at all, anywhere, anytime. Srila Prabhupada had visited the building on Stuyvesant Street, and he wanted it. It was a historical, well-kept aristocratic building suitable for his New York headquarters. It was worth the $100,000 price if they could afford it. But it was difficult for Prabhupada to know from San Francisco what was going on between Brahmananda and the businessman. So that's why the communication gap came. And difficulty increased as letters and phone calls from Brahmananda introduced other persons involved. Aside from Mr. Price, there was Mr. Tyler, the owner, and Mr. Tyler's lawyer, who seemed independent of Mr. Tyler. And finally, there was ISKCON's lawyer, who also had a mind of his own. So here, so many people got involved, and nobody knows nobody's mind, and money was given, and Prabhupada is just speculating what to do now because there was a communication gap. All the Srila Prabhupada's disciples usually surrendered to his direction. They seemed bent on listening to the businessman's promises, even though their spiritual master had cautioned them not to. Prabhupada became disturbed. His preaching in San Francisco was being threatened by fears that the businessman would cheat his society of what he had begun in New York. With no responsible advisors to turn to, Srila Prabhupada sometimes discussed the problem with Mukunda and other devotees in the room. They all agreed that the transactions seemed highly irregular. Brahmananda was probably being led on by false promises. That's how the businessmen are. Brahmananda, however, saw Mr. Price as a rare person, a sourceful man, successful man, who wanted to help the devotees. Although no other respectable businessman had ever shown interest, Mr. Price listened and sympathized. And he would greet the devotees with Hare Krishna. Brahmananda was well aware of his humble economic and social position of the devotees. They were almost all ex-hippies and they were very poor. But here was Mr. Price, a wealthy man with diamond cuff links, who was always glad to see him, shake his hand, pat his back, and speak appreciatively of the religion of India and the moral behavior of this small band of devotees. So Mr. Price was very clever. He kind of behaved in such a way that Brahmananda and other devotees, they trusted him. Mr. Price had received a group of devotees as guests in his apartment and said nice things about each one of them. He had said that Hayagriva was an excellent writer and that Back to Godhead was the best magazine on the market and that its mime-graphed appearance made it look even better than Slick's. He said he would give the devotees a movie projector, and he came close to saying that if he could liquidate some of his money, he would give them the building. So such a huge false promise. If you are so much charitable, if you have so much money, if you wanted to help, then why would you take even $1,000? So that was a cheating. Brahmananda, he was giving false promise that he will donate for the building. Brahmananda, who saw Mr. Price a few times a week, would come away intoxicated with high hopes. The Krishna conscious movement could rise to success through this wealthy man's patronage. After leaving Mr. Price's office, Brahmananda would rejoin the devotees in the evening and tell them all that had happened on nights when there was no public kirtans. The devotees would hold meetings. Swamiji had named them Istkostis to discuss the instructions of the spiritual master, and the Istkostis became dominated by talks of Mr. Price and the building. So his Gostis mutually they were talking what's going on with the building acquisition, and they learned what his Gostis are and how we should discuss and conduct. One night Brahmananda explained why he had given Mr. Price $1,000. Mr. Price had asked for something to work with. It was like earnest money, and it was also for a trip Mr. Price had to take to Pittsburgh to see whether he could release some of his wealth to use in Krishna's service. So he went to Pittsburgh to find out. So he traveled using that money. One of the boys asked whether there would be any receipt or written agreement. Swamiji had taught them to use the receipts at least amongst themselves. Gargamuni and Satswarupa, as treasurer and secretary, signed each voucher, and Gargamuni kept the vouchers on file. They included requests for items like 50 cents for hat and $3 for sneakers. Brahmananda said he had mentioned a written statement to Mr. Price, but hadn't pressed the matter. Anyway, it wasn't necessary or even desirable, since they were not simply conducting business with Mr. Price, but cultivating a relationship. Mr. Price was a well-wisher, a friend who was helping them as charity. He was going to do big things and use his influence to get the building. This $1,000 was just a gesture to show their interest and to show Mr. Price's friends and the devotees weren't joking. They had some money. So very nicely, Mr. Price is cheating and Prabhupada is bringing this up, but sometimes we get hope against hope. In fact, the devotees had $10,000, 5,000 in small donations, and $5,000 donation from wealthy hippie. In addition to donations, the temple had a regular monthly income of $800, Brahmananda's $400 paycheck, and from his job as a substitute teacher for the New York City public school system, and the $400 paycheck Srila earned as a case worker for the welfare department. So two people were giving all their salary, Brahmananda and Srila. They had jobs, so it was important. And other than there's some donations. The devotees were in no position to buy any building, and they knew it. All the more reason Brahmananda explained at East Coastie why they had to depend on Mr. Price. After all, he reasoned Swamiji himself had inspired them to look for a $100,000 building. Swamiji knew they couldn't pay for such a building except in some extraordinary way. And Mr. Price, Brahmananda figured, must be the way. Swamiji wanted the building no sooner had he reached San Francisco. Then he had written back, I'm very anxious to hear about the final decision of the house. I wish to open the house by 1st of March 1967, and arrangements may be done dexterously in this connection. That's what Prabhupada's plan was. The assembled devotees listened to Brahmananda's explanation, sympathized, and added their own understanding of how Krishna and Swamiji were working. There were a few contrary remarks and opinions, but basically everyone agreed. Brahmananda's dealings with Mr. Price were all right. When Kirtananda and Rayarama returned to New York from San Francisco, they consulted with Brahmananda. Then Brahmananda went to Mr. Price, who promised that if somehow they couldn't get the building, he would return at least $750. The balance of the money represented travel in the devotees' interests. But they would get the building, Mr. Price assured him. Then Mr. Price told Brahmananda the latest. He had found a wealthy financier, Mr. Hall, who had almost agreed to pay the full $100,000 for the building. Mr. Price was working on Mr. Hall, who happened to be his close friend. Prospects seemed good, but the devotees would also have to do their part, Mr. Price explained, by putting up $5,000. Mr. Price would then arrange everything else. So here's another bluff came. And since Prabhupada said no money had to be given, Mr. Price had a meeting with an architect on Park Avenue, and soon Brahmananda and Sasrupa were sitting with Mr. Price and his architect friend reviewing sketches to give the building that authentic Indian temple look. The architect proposed a facade with arches, and if they liked domes, it was wonderful. Of course, they didn't dare ask him how much it would cost. But Mr. Price even hinted that the work might be done free. After Mr. Price served himself and his architect friend some liquor and offered some to the boys, although he knew they would accept it. The two men held up tinkling glasses, smiled, and politely toasted themselves and the boys, saying Hare Krishna. While going down on the elevator, Mr. Price spoke eloquently to the devotees' faith in God. He said that others might argue about the existence of God, but most convincing thing was the devotees' personal experience. Your personal testimony, Mr. Price assured them, is the best argument. It is a very powerful thing. So he was very much indulged, Mr. Price was indulged with the devotees and showing them that he is the kind of understanding philosophy, and he brought architects, and he wanted more money, $5,000, and he kept promising that everything can be sponsored, even the architect, even the building. The boys nodded. Later among themselves they laughed about the liquor, but still they figured these men wanted to help. So the thing here is, these devotees, they were taking these liquor in the past, but when they were offered, because under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada, they denied it. It was tough for them, but they were very much fixed up. When Srila Prabhupada heard about the latest developments, he did not share his disciples' optimism. On February 3rd, he wrote Garga Muni. So Prabhupada heard all of this. This happened, that happened, architect came, visa, sponsorship and everything. Prabhupada wasn't very much enthusiastic about it. He wrote back, I had a talk with your brother Brahmananda yesterday on the dial. I'm glad that Mr. Price has promised to return the amount of $750 in case no sale contract is made. But in any case, you should not pay any farthing more than what you have already paid, either to the lawyer or to Mr. Price, unless there is an actual sale contract made. It appears to me very gloomy about the transaction because there was no basic understanding before payment of $1,000, either to the lawyer or to the real estate. This is not business-like. Unless there is a basic understanding, where is the way of transaction? If there is no basic understanding, why so much wastage of time and energy? I cannot understand. And if there was basic understanding, why it is changed so quickly? I am therefore perturbed in my mind. When there was no basic understanding, what was the need for approaching a lawyer? Anyways, it is my advice that you should consult me before issuing any further money. But I hope you will make the transaction successful without further delay. So here's Prabhupada's firm stand that nothing should be given anymore. Srila Prabhupada had also instructed Garga Muni to protect the $10,000 in the bank and never withdraw any sum that would leave a balance of less than 6,000. Prabhupada had left one account for which the devotees were signers, but he also had an account for which he controlled the funds. He now asked the devotees to put $6,000 from their account into his. He wrote Brahmananda, this $6,000 will be transferred forthwith by me as soon as there is a sale contract for purchase of the house. So Prabhupada was very smart in that sense. He asked the devotee to transfer the money to his personal account so that they may not be cheated by Mr. Price again and grab the money from them. So Prabhupada made sure that, okay, I have the money now with me in my own account, and I will pay only when I would see a deed or a deal. On February 10th, Prabhupada wrote to Kirtananda regarding the house. I was correct in my remarks. There was no definite understanding. In such negotiations, everything is done in black and white. Nothing is being done in black and white, but everything is being done with the faith of Mr. Price. Let this understanding be completed within the 1st March 1967 and close the chapter. I think this is my last word in this connection. You're all grown-up boys and you use your discretion, and you can now complete the transaction without prolonging it indefinitely. If, however, you are not able to purchase a house, it does not mean closing our activity at 26 2nd Avenue. So there is no question of packing up and coming to San Francisco. So there the point is, Prabhupada is spending so much time by letters, by calling, guiding, advising how to acquire properties. This is all devotional service. This is all seva. And he's trying so much. On February 10th, Prabhupada wrote to Kirtananda regarding the house. I was correct. What happened here? Okay. So, okay, let's go now. If, however, we were not able to purchase a house, it does not mean closing. So, no closing of the center already existing on 26 2nd Avenue. And Prabhupada knew, and he's saying right away, if we couldn't get it, never mind, but what we are doing, we will continue doing it. Then on February 15th, Prabhupada wrote Sat Swarupa. So far I can see from the correspondence of Brahmananda, it is not possible for us to get the house for so many reasons. The main reason is that we have no money to pay cash, and nobody is going to invest cash in that house because it is neither complete nor has any income. It is simply utopian to think of possessing the house, and Mr. Price is simply giving us false hope. You are all innocent boys without any experience in the world. The cunning world can befool you at any time, so please be careful of the word in Krishna consciousness. When Krishna will desire, the house will come to us automatically. Srila Prabhupada's doubts were confirmed when Mr. Price wrote to him asking for more money, and Mr. Price, if had so much money, Prabhupada reasoned, why was Mr. Price asking for money? He is wealthy, he is promising. We have given $1,000, he is asking more. Why didn't he put more money out of his own pocket if he wanted to help us out sincerely? On February 17, Srila Prabhupada wrote to Mr. Price to impress upon him that there would have B2B sale contract before ISKCON could actually purchase the building. So Prabhupada was so clear. If there is a sale contract, my students here and in New York will be able to raise the fund very seriously. In the absence of any sale contract, everything appears to be in the air, and Mr. Tyler or his lawyer can change his word as he has already done. So Prabhupada said, don't put false faith in anyone. Many times it happens, devotees, they try to start something, a land or a mission given by somebody, and instead of putting in the name of ISKCON, even today, they want to start on their own. Okay, we have this society, some other name, Hare Krishna Prachar Samiti, Goloka, this, that society, they put different names, they buy properties. And one such incident happened recently, that a devotee was donated land by somebody. He wanted to construct temple. Somebody said, it's a real story. Somebody said, yes, we will give you money. We will live there with you, we will build the whole thing. And in fact, they did it. They did it. They built the whole big temple. They made the whole big building. I personally visited the place. And what happened? What happened was that there were some bad elements got associated. Those who constructed the whole big building, they left bodies. And those who got involved, they were not right. Nothing was in name of ISKCON. It was all without any papers for ISKCON. And what happened after that? The person who started all of that, he was kicked out. You go away, never show your face here. So he left. And those who died, their relatives were in Uttarakhand government. And they brought police and evacuated everything. Nothing could be done. Those who invested money with that devotee in that temple, having the whole property without having name of ISKCON, everything went into drain. This is happening even today. So the important thing is, Prabhupada is emphasizing here, ISKCON society is making sure every single property project that we become, people come, okay, I have this property, I will give it to you. It happened in the past also. I'll give it to you, don't worry, we will build this, that. So they get money from ISKCON, they invest in the building, and later they turn back. They say, oh, I want to do something else over here. So ISKCON has become much smarter now. We do not put any money, any resources, any investment, any property which is not in the name of ISKCON. So we are almost, I don't know where this went, not behaving properly. No, it's not touch. So, okay. Let's go back up. Now, okay, can we see everyone? Okay. So, we read up to this point that on February 70, Prabhupada wrote Mr. Price if there is a sale contract. Srila Prabhupada's message was clear. Brahmananda, however, complained of poor communications. Things were always changing, and Brahmananda wasn't always able to get Swamiji's confirmation on the latest changes. Swamiji would write his instructions in a letter, and although the devotees had to obey whatever he said, the circumstances would often have changed by the time they received the letter. Swamiji would also sometimes change his opinion when he heard new information. Sometimes Brahmananda would call San Francisco and Swamiji wouldn't be available. Brahmananda didn't feel right about sending messages through devotees in San Francisco because he knew that the devotees they were skeptical about the whole transaction. If New York got the building, San Francisco would have to donate thousands of dollars, and the devotees in San Francisco, of course, had their own plans for how to spend money for Krishna. So this is kind of devotees, they are trying to manage both places and trying to serve Srila Prabhupada in various ideas. Mr. Price suggested to the devotees in New York that maybe the Swamiji did not understand American business dealings. With all respect, His Excellency could not be expected to know all the intricacies of finance in a foreign country. Here Prabhupada from India, he understood well. And the devotees who were here, they were Americans and they could not understand Mr. Price. Prabhupada, because of his vast experience and His Excellency's request for purchase contract was, as Mr. Price put it, something that went out with hoop skirts. Brahmananda and Sasurupa did not know how to reply. The remarks seemed like blasphemy. But Brahmananda and Sasurupa were already entangled in the promises Mr. Price had given and went on the meeting with him. They would meet with Mr. Price and then ride back to 2nd Avenue on subway chanting Hare Krishna. They were still in touch also because they have already given $1,000. Srila Prabhupada wrote, okay, so we can stop here. A lot of presentations have been already done. So, any question or comment? But I would in general say that without having a proper deal or without having a proper deal, we should not get engaged into any payments. That's how Srila Prabhupada is very careful, he didn't want to spend a single penny of ISKCON outside to anyone. So we are here and now Srila Prabhupada wrote almost daily to various devotees. So we will start reading next time from this point on. Somebody may note it down. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.